Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story. And today we're out in Arizona again, and today we've got a great Corvette for you, a racing history Corvette. So the learning lesson for me is on. With that, I'm with Scott Dame. Scott, good to see you.
Good seeing you, Lou.
Before I go too far, you're in charge of a rally. Tell me about that.
We are.
Who's we?
Jerry and I. We elected,
his wife.
We elected to actually resurrect the Governor's Cup Rally that started in 1984. And we're doing it for the benefit of Make-A-Wish, and we had 26 cars, 55 great people, and we just finished it last month.
So bringing money to charity with these great cars. With that being said, there's a car today we're going to take a look at. What's the car? What's the year? What do we have today?
We have a 1958 Corvette R.P.O. 684.
Now,
Corvette.
R.P.O. 684, that was an option package. Tell me a little bit about that option.
Okay, R.P.O. 684 was the heavy-duty brake option. There were two of them that year. This was the most extreme of them. It includes cast iron drums with fins cast into them. It has internal cooling fans. It has areas in the back that were actually cut away on the backing plates where they have wire mesh in there. They have scoops in the front and the rear of the brakes to duct air into them. And they use a cerometallic lining. And it was a segmented metal lining that had a very high coefficient of friction only when they were hot. They were virtually undrivable when they were cold.
Let's take a look. First of all, I'm going to start over here. So with this option and with this package, there's your option code. I'm going to show you how that all comes together. And transparently, I was learning the whole time, so I hope you will too. The car we're looking at started like that. And it was in a barn, so I'm going to kind of jump from spot to spot, in Iowa, correct?
Correct.
That's what it's going to look like in a second. And I'm going to give you all the details right there so you can see and stop that at any time you'd like. These are the rims for the car when it's racing. We have some other period correct rims on it right now, but here's where the car was last titled in '68. So after 10 years of racing, it just stopped. Just like that. So before we go too far, with the options, show me what we have here. Here's the Corvette Sports Equipment Guide from 1959. Scott, take me through it.
Okay. In 1959, of course, that AMA manufacturer's ban was still in effect, so they couldn't really call them racing options. So what they did, they called this the Sports Car Equipment Guide.
Okay.
And these are all the engine options.
And now I want to, before you turn the page, 230 horse, standard, 245, 250, we go to the other side, 270, and this,
that's our puppy there.
This is what we have in this one. So I want to just pause that for a second. Look at that. Let me show the bars. But I'll let you take that in to read that. And for those of you who say, well, Lou, I might want to see that one too, I'll give you a moment there. And I won't give you a chance to see each one in and of itself. Okay? All right, let's flip the page. So here's optional transmissions. And you can see the 4-speed. I'll let you read the details if you like that stuff, because this is pretty cool. You're not going to see this very often. Here's your rear axle. More codes. Just like that. Now here's your standard brakes and optional brakes. So let's show the brakes that we're going to have on this one.
Okay, these are the brakes here with the segmented cerometallic linings.
Okay, show over here too.
Okay, these were on the car originally when we got it out of storage. And these are pucks that are basically a ceramic metallic composite. Very advanced for the time, but because of the coefficient of friction and the coefficient of expansion, you really couldn't even drive it to the track. So what they did, Chevrolet in this book gives you the part numbers for the Chevrolet station wagon rear brakes and the Buick station wagon front brakes for the non-metallic version of this.
Okay.
So you could drive it to and from the track without hitting everybody around you because they wouldn't stop.
What is this?
These are the internal cooling fins.
Internal.
These fit inside those big finned cast iron drums.
Show that from the side too, just like that. Okay.
It's stamped and fabricated, and what they would do on the fronts, which we still use, on the fronts they're actually swedged onto the front axles and the bearing race. On the rears, they actually just bolted between the drum and the axle flange. That's
Okay.
why we don't use them, because when we're at the track working on it, we don't want these things constantly falling out.
Okay.
And then the other part of this car also has the ducted brakes as well as the deflectors. They're called elephant ears in the front. They're big rubber Dumbo ears.
Let's show those too.
Yeah,
Go
let's
ahead.
do that.
Let me show. We've got the car up on the jack this time, just so you can see this. Okay.
They're your Dumbo right there.
These, and now
They can see the fins on the drum as well as the wire mesh that keeps basically large debris from going into the brakes.
exactly.
Then it has corresponding cutouts in the back of this backing plate to exhaust all that. And we have the same thing front and rear, with the exception of the rears. They would have actually what they called diffusers that would actually blow it onto the brakes through ducting back there, but they would actually pressurize them from up here.
Okay.
Now this car does not have those transition pieces. Where my hand is, you would have had big fiberglass pieces up inside here, and then it would divert that air back down to the rocker panel to where these transitions are, if you can see that in there. That's just a block-off plate now, but it would basically pressurize this. That's what they call them airbox cars,
Okay.
because that's the channel that is actually inside the rocker panels.
There you go. Got it.
And then in the rear, it would come out these trapezoidal openings. I just have a cover for that.
Go ahead, show. Hopefully the camera. Oh, there we go. Okay.
And then it would go through diffusers there into small ducts back here. Did you get those right?
We're going to do our best to do that. Okay, hopefully the camera got all that. I know some of you are saying, Lou, show us the car. So let me step back for just a moment. And you're going to see that. And I'll bring it out to the street and you'll hear it, so you'll see it. Okay, so with that being said, you made a baby one. You did this yourself.
That one I did.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It doesn't compare with the one my friend Manuel did down in Brazil.
But it's not bad. Tell me what these are.
These are a really rare Corvette option from the same period, but not necessarily for this car. An outfit called Galloway Engineering in Los Angeles built these wind wings. And this is a solid bronze die casting.
Wow.
So that these would actually fit on. We can actually show them the 61 if you want.
Yeah, show them.
Okay.
We'll show you the 61 here. I just thought these were some cool pieces.
You would drill and tap 3 holes in here. Not that you would do that now with the cost, with the value
Sure.
of these cars, but this would simply overlay on that and be basically seamless.
That's pretty cool.
So you'd actually have European style wind wings.
Uh-huh. That's nice.
It's the only set I've ever seen, actually.
So there we go. We thought if we have the only set, we should show the only set. So with that being said, let's, now that we've shown you the inside underneath part of the car, and some of you might be saying, Lou, is there anything else?
What you're looking at there, we can only do things that were period correct in 58. So to stabilize and center the rear end, we used a panhard bar. That's the first bar you see there with the Heim joints on the end that Lou's looking at right now. And that actually prevents the axle from moving from side to side.
There, you can see those brakes.
And then inboard of those, Lou, if you go a little bit further past the white shock absorbers there, you can see those trailing arms. Those are factory trailing arms but they actually are mounted inboard, and the geometry seems to work out just about perfectly. Those were on the car when we got it.
Give me a chance to kind of take that in. And then I'll just show you the underside as well while I'm here. All right. Okay. And you're going to love this right here in a second. Okay, let's show a little bit more of the manual before we go.
Okay.
Because I don't want to miss this manual. This manual is so cool. All right, so we'll go ahead.
Okay. So we get into this. We're talking about the different RPO options. What's involved?
Well, what does
with each
RPO
one.
stand for?
It stands for regular production order. And what they would do is give part numbers for everything from the upgraded engines, like the fuel injected, to the different brake options.
The heavy duty brakes. Okay. The tuning, compression.
The fuel injection.
That's what we got here. Let me just show this side too. Give it a second. Okay.
And then this is all the factory race
This is
setup.
carburation.
Right.
We have fuel injection. We've got the big engine. How did you know you wanted this car of all the cars in the world? I mean,
Well, I heard about the big brake cars. I had only ever seen one. And it was a
the
situation...
big brake cars.
That's what they call them.
Okay, big brake cars. Okay.
Now, this is a big brake car, but it's also an airbox car, meaning that it has that ducting to the rear brakes.
Got it. Okay. And what kind
Let's
of
jump here.
registration?
And this is basically about, the
For
different...
course setup.
Yeah.
So they knew that this was going to be a race car.
They gave you all the computations for all of the different gear ratios, the tire diameter, everything.
Yeah, night racing. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go right to the car. Let's take her down.
Okay. You might want to look at one more thing.
Yeah, I'm happy to look at whatever you want to show me.
Up here,
Yeah.
it has a heavy-duty anti-sway bar, which is bigger than normal, but then where you would normally have rubber links up here
Yes.
with little rods, this is all Heim jointed
Oh, yeah.
and all in hard bushings rather than rubber.
And that was all the RPO special stuff.
No, this would have been a Bill Thomas racing mod in the day.
Oh, okay.
This also
so
has
correct racing module piece.
Exactly.
Got it.
This also has a Bill Thomas plenum, an intake plenum.
Okay. Which is right there.
No, up on top there.
Okay. Point to it here.
Okay, when we have the hood open, I'll show
Okay.
you.
All right.
Okay.
Let's bring her down. So the bottom line, Scott, while we're bringing the car down, is you've raced this car in the vintage racing.
Correct.
And this car's done pretty well. So it was built from the factory as a race car. We saw what it looked like in red. You rebuilt this, and you did all of this yourself.
Everything
but the paint job.
Paintwork, correct.
Look at that. Wonderful. All right, let's open the engine compartment just before we go anywhere. We got that there. The all-important fuel injection. How satisfying was it to put this together? This looks exciting.
It was a fun project.
Yeah.
It was really a labor of love. I started this in March of 2001 and finished it in October of the same year.
So it was an incredibly long time. I mean, it wasn't like it was forever.
Well, I had just sold a business, and I had the time to devote to it.
And this is what you did.
Correct.
Tell me about the back end here, because there's a couple of chrome pieces here that I'm not used to seeing on a Corvette.
Those are laughingly referred to as elephant tusk.
These?
58 only.
These here.
Those and the silly artificial louvers in the hood were specific to the 58.
Let's pull it out so we can have it, get a little better shot of it outside. But we'll take a deeper look at it when it's outside.
You might want to take shots because I had to get these down the ramps. It's going to be a little noisy.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm happy to take more shots while you're preparing the ramp. Let me show this right here. Corvette. A bar to hang on to.
Might be a good time to look in the trunk there if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. Here's our trunk. I'll hold that. We've got our fuel cell. What kind of fuel do we put in here?
We're putting aviation fuel now. That's
Aviation fuel, 101 octane?
101 low lead, correct?
Okay.
Which is the equivalent of racing fuel, but it has some age stabilizers and things in it.
Okay. I love that piece of jewelry here. And this car is all original?
All the trim on this car, every piece of chrome, every piece of stainless is original, yes. With the exception of the emblem like this one in the front. That is a reproduction plastic piece, but everything else is original to the car.
This is your fuel pump?
The fuel pump. I modified the tank to use the original sending unit.
Okay.
And then that's where our battery is. So you want to get as much weight rear as you can.
Okay. All right. I even like the fact that when you open it and close it, you can hear that.
Yeah. That's what fiberglass is.
Yeah.
And this car has full road equipment too. So it has all the operational lights, turn signals, everything.
So you can drive it like a 58 car.
Yes.
Except it's not. We're going to take it out and we'll take a better look at some of these things. Now you've modified just a little bit that RPM gauge.
Yes, if your viewers look at the photos you took, that was a kind of a hogged out area where they had put some sort of big tack and then of course removed it later. I cleaned that up and actually faced that back and added about 10 degrees of inclination.
You can see it's got a little angle.
Right, so it's actually at eye level at that point.
That was a good move.
And then the supplemental gauge panel is in place of where the radio would have been and the courtesy lights and things.
Okay.
So you've got a Hobbs meter on there. That's total.
What's a Hobbs
hours.
meter?
Hobbs meter is an hour meter. We use them in aviation. That's the total miles since it's been on the track. So 132 miles or 132 hours total. And then this is an oil temperature gauge.
Well, I can drive 132 miles on this thing just going from my house back downtown.
Well, this is hours. This is hours.
Well, I might be hours.
Different things.
So like this.
As you can see, it's been driven. Now, we got this with 17,000 original miles. It's got 20,900 now, and that's documented original miles.
Documented original 1958. So you put 3,000 miles on it.
Right.
Oh, you've driven the snot out of this thing.
Well, it's, the engine lives between 4,000 and 6,500 RPMs, so, it's not...
I'm sorry, how many?
4,000 to 6,500 is the operating band for the engine.
Really?
It's tractable. It's easy to drive around town if you want to do that sort of thing.
But that's a lot of RPM.
Not for these engines.
Okay.
These will, when they're built, even with period components, they're capable of 8,000 RPMs.
Okay. Is there a VIN number on the door or something? Or
there is a VIN number where you had the door open over there.
Yeah.
It was their high security system back in '58. Right there in the door jamb.
Right there. Okay, I'll have to wait until you're...
Okay.
Let's bring her out. I'm going to stand out in the street.
Okay.
So we can present this one. As he puts the earplugs in. That's good stuff right there.
Typically crank it for a while and repressurize the oil system.
The piece of automotive history. The 58 from the factory race car. I thought you'd want to see this one roll. Sounds great. Come on out. I want to get the list of what's there.
A lot of toggle switches to get this started here.
A lot of toggle switches. I get the feeling a lot of people have seen this view right here, Scott. The back end.
We've had pretty good luck with it. It's typically, when I stopped racing it actively a few years ago, we were usually a top 5 car.
Top 5 car. So
even though it is street legal.
Even though it is street legal.
There's your high security VIN number.
There it is. And now we get a little better look at the interior. What is this right here? Is that like your bat chute? Is that what you just pull
No,
at?
that's your cow vent out front.
Your cow vent.
Yes,
okay.
right in front of the windshield.
Parking brake.
That was your fresh air ventilation.
Your fresh air ventilation. I think you get more than enough fresh air.
Right here.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. And let's take one more look under the hood. Let's start it while we have the hood open.
That's a bit difficult.
Let me hold it.
All right.
I'll hold
There's
it.
not much to see there.
No, well, you've got some louvers and things moving.
Not really.
Okay.
No. I can do it if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's. What's the? I'm noticing that tag right there.
Now that's that Bill Thomas plenum I told you about. That's
Okay.
the big finned aluminum thing.
Yeah.
That's where the air goes in. That's strictly an air meter. And it mixes with the fuel down at the fuel injectors. Bill Thomas took these things and actually cut them in half and went in a machine, the bottom of them, and radiused all the intakes. So it's a legal modification, but it has a lot of high-end horsepower.
That's wonderful. Come on out.
This
Well,
also-
stay right there.
This also uses...
Tell me who you have on the door here. I see John Fitch. That's one of the original guys who rode in the Le Mans.
He won the first race for Corvette.
For Corvette.
Right.
They didn't win that race, but he was the first Corvette across the line.
Well, actually, no. In Sebring,
Really?
he won the first actual race for Corvette.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm with you. But in 1960, he drove the first Corvette in Le Mans.
That's correct.
And then they had 4 cars, and he came in. His was the only one that finished the race, but that was a huge deal.
Yeah, there were 3 factory cars and the Camerati car, which is a privateer.
Okay.
And you can probably make out the rest of those. Dick Gulfstran's on there, Paul Reinhardt, Jim Jeffers, Dr. Dick Thompson, and he was the national A production and B production champion.
The 8-ball.
And then you got Delmo Johnson on there, who raced one of the original Stingrays. And who else do we have on there? Had to remind myself, but take a close up, and they're all recognizable. Bob Bondurant, of course, is on there.
That's great. Hop on out.
And Dave Morgan is another one.
Dave Morgan. Let's hop on out and shut that hood, give it a flush look so I can take a look at the front.
I forgot one guy.
Okay.
Joe Freitas. Can't forget Joe Freitas.
All right.
He was a good buddy and best friend with Dave McDonald.
That's wonderful. That's just wonderful. I'll let you meditate on that.
Would you like some lights?
Yeah, go ahead. Turn the lights on. For our nighttime racing. That's great. Scott's standing right next to her. Stand right next to her for a second. So we got some more wonderful chrome up the front here. What a fun car, right?
It has been fun.
How many years have you had this one again?
We actually purchased it in
2001?
February of 2001.
How many friends have you met because of this car?
Oh, a lot of great friends. You know, that was probably more than 50% of the fun in vintage racing was the people that we met and are still friends with.
Isn't that the best?
It is.
It's so much fun. Scott, good to see you. Thanks for letting me take this piece of history along with you for the ride. Thanks for being on My Car Story.
You bet, Lou. Next time we'll go for a ride.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.